All right, today we will be diving into the file manager behind Sandbox, which we've really rewritten a couple of times. But the current status is, so let's look at the files that we have here in the backend. We have filemanager.ts and remote file storage.ts, sandbox.ts, and those are the important ones. So sandbox is created every time every time you connect to a sandbox. There's a sandbox object created. Every time you open up the sandbox in your browser, the sandbox.ts. If you close the window, this still stays in the server. Like it's still there. So the next time you go back, the sandbox object will still be there. And if two people are connected to the same sandbox, there's only one. So that's how we have it set up right now, and all of that is just saved in the server's memory. So I could just show you really quickly how that works. So under, if I can remember which file it's in, I think under here, index.ts. This is the backend web server. And so yeah, we do all these things, like we initialize things that we might need just one of, like we need one Doku client, we need one Git client. And we, every time someone connects to the backend server, we note that that person is connected to the sandbox, to the sandbox that they're connected to. The reason why we do that is actually not super obvious. Like why we keep track of who's connected to what sandbox anytime. The reason is that if one user changes a file on one sandbox, we need to notify all the other users so that their file explorer on the left side will update. Like if someone adds or removes or renames a file, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So we're keeping track of everyone who's using every sandbox, so that when any change to the file system happens, that can be pushed to all of the other people using the same sandbox. That's separate from the live blocks. That's just for the file manager. And so this here, and then the other thing is, this is not really important, but we require that the owner be connected to the sandbox for other people to use it. I don't know. That's just something that was initially a rule, and it seems reasonable. And then this is the part where we send file notifications. So that's why this is important, is because this function says that when there's a file notification, we get all the people that are connected to that one sandbox. And now this is super basic. This is just telling them to refresh the file list. This is saying let's say there's 3 people connected to the sandbox, it just messages all of them for each and then tells each one to refresh the file list. And I actually think this is a really good pattern just to like refresh the whole thing. Because if we're pushing messages to individual browsers like, oh, you need to change this file to this name, things get very complicated. So I think just refreshing every time can actually be really simple, a good approach for now. So that's what this connection manager does. Very simple. And when when someone connects to the editor, so this connection is basically just made. This connection is basically just happens when someone opens the editor, opens the GitWit editor. And so we get this data, like their ID, the sandbox ID that they're connecting to, if they're the owner, and there's some middleware that ensures that this is correct. They cannot fake this if they're the owner or not. And this is the template, the template of the sandbox, the type. So basically, the first thing that we do here is we check if the sandbox exists. If we've created it before, we don't recreate it. But if we haven't created it, then we create a new sandbox, and with the ID, and that bit here should check here. It should check if yeah, okay. So first we just create it. First we just create the sandbox here. We don't make sure that it's running. We just make sure that we have a sandbox object for that sandbox ID. And then later on, very shortly after, we run sandbox.initialize. And that's where we actually check that the container is running, because these we're going to call it containers. But the E2B sandboxes, they time out, right? So just because it's there in our list, it doesn't necessarily mean that it hasn't timed out. So we have to make sure that it hasn't timed out. So if we have the container already and if it's running, so therefore it hasn't timed out, then we're good. Otherwise, we run e2b sandbox.create, and we spin up a new sandbox. So yeah, that's nothing to do with the file manager, but that's how the sandbox works. And then after that, we create the terminal manager to manage the terminals. We create the file manager to manage the files and whatever, initialize that. So basically, the main thing to get out of this is that every sandbox, every time a user connects to the editor, opens the editor, it checks if there's a sandbox object already, and make sure to create one if necessary. And for each connection, there's actually for each of those, there's one file manager. For each sandbox object, there's one file manager. And the file manager's job is to just read and write files. So we can call things like so we can do things like that's a good example. So like get file, right? So things like get file, we can do things like this. Literally just get the contents of the file, but this is part of the API that the front end uses. So we need to be able to get files, get folders, save file, move file, and these are all the things that the file manager handles. Any questions so far?
No, it makes sense.
Okay, yeah, this part that I'm showing you now is pretty clean, right?
Yeah.
It's not super confusing, right? But we had a lot of code there that was for this, where is it? Remote file storage for saving all the files in Cloudflare. So I've gone through and I have pretty much finished to delete all of those, all of the code here, persistent containers. This is where we'll be working now. Persistent containers. So I deleted like 700 lines of code. So now, okay, perfect. This one's red. No. So let's see. Red means there's errors, right? Okay, so basically I deleted a bunch of code. Also, you notice that the remote file storage .ts is completely gone.
Yeah.
And what I deleted was, well, this is the worker. No, this is the files. This is the API to Cloudflare, so we don't need any of that. And then I deleted all of any code relating to that Cloudflare bit here. I just deleted a ton of it. But I left in the stuff relating to E2B. Okay, so it's like here. And then I deleted the Cloudflare worker. So basically, what I have to do today, that I've been putting off a little, is I have to actually make this code work. I just did like a really rough cut where I just deleted a lot of stuff. So it's actually not even gonna run right now because I've deleted so much stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So basically, I have to go through these errors. And do you have VS Code Live Share? Actually, do I have VS Code Live Share? Have you used it before?
Yep, I have.
Okay, maybe we can get that set up. So I'm going to install this. How does it work? How do I share my setup with you? Do you know how I can share this screen with you? Burhan?
Yeah, wait, my mic was muted the whole time. Wait, you're supposed to share a link. Just go to the file. Wait, how do you browse your extensions? Like,
Here?
I just see on my left panel.
Oh, here.
Yeah, here.
Okay.
And you can share a read or write or just read only.
Okay, I clicked it a couple of times. Is it doing something? Start collaborative chat session. Oh. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it's not doing anything.
Wait, what? Maybe it's
Yeah.
bugged out. Wait, you see the opening like the green sign, maybe to open it further
Which
on
one?
top right of
Yeah,
this.
that doesn't
Yeah,
work.
this.
That gives an error.
Interesting.
Well, that's okay. We can just forget about that. It's just an idea.
Okay.
So we'll just we'll just code. I'll just code a bit and explain what I'm doing, and I don't know. I hope in an hour or so we can actually make some progress, get it running.
Mm-hmm.
So so fortunately, the amount of code here is like now, it's only 300 lines of code now, and before it was way more. So that's manageable. So let's just start here. I think these may be duplicate types here. T folder, T file, here, here. Those are the same. So that's giving error. Just need to delete that. Okay. Scroll down to the next error. Is there a way to get to the next error? I don't know. It's here. Okay. Get to here. Load file content. Oh, yeah, we can remove that.
Wait, if
So,
not Cloudflare, where are we going to store the files
they're all getting stored on E2B now.
Cool.
So they were already stored on E2B, but they would be deleted every time the sandbox would be timeout, right?
Yeah.
So now there's something called persistence.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, E2B. Have a look. So here, oh, yeah. So here there's something called persistence. Basically, we can run sandbox.pause.
Oh, and then you could like continue where you left.
Yeah, and then it doesn't time out for a month without and you're not paying to run it.
Cool.
So, yeah, there's obviously it's different than just storing the files.
Mm-hmm.
It pauses the entire state of the sandbox.
Right.
So, yeah, it's different, but we're gonna, and that's gonna be fine for now.
Right, but like the limit says by you like for a month, or do they?
No,
Do they have?
that's just like a fixed limit right now.
Oh, okay.
But we can work around that. Like all you have to do is start it up again for a second and then pause it again.
Cool.
If you want to get longer. So let's see. This part, this get files for download, this is the zip export. I actually think I'm gonna change the way this works because additionally, what we were doing before, not just storing everything in Cloudflare, but that we also were keeping the file data in memory here in variables. Because yeah, if you want to have, you don't want to like be repeatedly asking Cloudflare for the same file. I mean, you could, but we just had it that way. But this file data thing doesn't really exist anymore, which was like the cache
Right.
of the files. I think the best way to handle this is, I'll come back to it, but probably I'm just going to run an E2B command that generates a zip file and then use that. It's just one, you just run one CLI command. So that kind of makes sense to me more. Let's see. Yeah, add files to zip with synchronized content. Okay. synchronized content. Yeah. I mean, actually, we'll need to delete all of this. Lob to basic. Easy to be. Okay, so I'm just gonna check where this is getting called just to make sure it's the right thing. Get files for download, and here, yeah, this is when you're downloading the files. This file is called. So right now we've deleted everything in it, but I'm gonna come back and use E2B to create the zip file. Should be easy. So this is actually like some of the easy stuff to understand. Creating a folder. If you want to create a folder, you run, and this is the E2B sandbox. This .sandbox.files.makedir. Okay. Now, path.posix.join is always combining things together with forward slashes. So dir name should be, okay, it's always home/user/project is always the project directory. Make dir, okay, so yeah, I think that's fine. This is unnecessary. This could actually just be put directly into here, because the nature of this function is just combining things with slashes, so it would add that. And yeah, so I might as well just do that actually, like that. So maybe it's cleaner. What do you think? Is it cleaner if I do this separately? Const folder path equal, like this? Do you like that better?
Yeah, it's more cleaner.
Okay. And then rename a file. Okay. Okay. This is kind of messy, but basically yeah, basically basically we're renaming a file, deleting a file, deleting a folder. Okay, so I've done the same for all of these. I'll just leave it. I'll come back to it, and we'll do a lot of cleanup. I just want to first make sure that this works. Let's see. So close watchers. Okay. There's no errors in File Manager now. We have an error. Why is this like sometimes red? Why do I sometimes get this redness, but then I cannot find where the error? Oh, here it is, because I'm blind. It's right here. Okay, so, right. So here, this is where we send the list of files from the file manager to the front end to show what's been loaded. I'm sorry, to show what files exist. I need to come back to that. That's when that's like when the file manager on the left side goes from the placeholder image to actually having all the files. That's from this. Let's come back to that because I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. And then this one, oh, this is for deploying code. Now, Yeah, so basically I've deleted all of the code in the file manager that remembers the files. So that means that every time we want to get files, we need to use e2b um, to uh, to query the file system. So I've created this function called getFileTree, and it's supposed to get all of the paths of all the files using find dot command on e2b. So thing is, I can't really remember if I've tested this at all. Let's see. New file. I don't think I have, but I'm just putting all of my faith into that function that it's working correctly. We're about to test everything. So get file tree, whereas before we were like just saving, we were
files.
just loading them. Yeah. Now
Mm-hmm.
we're actually running a command on e2b, but it should run really fast, ideally. We can cache it later if we want to. At this one, can't even remember. Okay, so file content is really different than file tree, because file tree is just the names, and file content would have like all of the contents of all of the files, and that we don't have now. We don't have a way to do that. Get all of the content of all of the files, which could be a lot. It could be a lot of content. So we have to think of the right way to implement that. So I'll just say like to do get files from e2b and deploy them. Yeah, there's no errors now. This is definitely the largest amount of code I've ever deleted in one change. It feels really good.
It was 700, 800 lines, right?
Yeah. Because synchronizing 3 things is way more. Going from synchronizing 2 things to 3 things is way more complicated than synchronizing just 2 things, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so.
If you can't see it, by the way.
Yeah, let me pull it up. Okay, so we're going to go to the app. Okay, sign in. And so what we should have now, if everything works, is
We should at least get
system.
the directories.
Yeah, exactly. We're expecting the functionality to work, but not to save when you close the. Okay, great. Looks like I just need to
Install
again, because I didn't change anything in the front end here. Okay, let's see if that works. That's really all my goal is right now, is just to see if things roughly work after we've deleted all of the Cloudflare stuff. Slow. As slow as molasses. Cool. Okay. So this is on the front end. Okay. So probably whatever we are returning from the back end is not in the format that it's supposed to be anymore.
Like the function get file tree, right?
Exactly. It's probably returning something incorrect. So I go to here and then I click on WebSockets, WS, and then here I can find the socket. Can I close this? Yeah. Looks like there's just nothing there. That's what I see. Loaded. Right. So that's why that might be the problem actually. Let's see. Loaded files. Here. Let's go here. Use the greatest debugging tool ever invented. Command output. And paths. Okay.
Wait, what template was it? Like the one that you have opened?
Good question. But it shouldn't matter. I don't know if it should matter right now, right? Well, it will. Okay, yeah, that will decide which paths to put out for sure. I'm not sure. Okay, check this out. We did get something. Got a lot of files. Okay, but that's correct because the templates come with all these node modules. Let's see which one it is. It's Reactor next. Oh wait, no, I think it's just HTML5.
It's vanilla?
Vanilla, baby.
Yeah.
But that didn't come through to the front end. Let's see. So that's probably from the command output part. Yeah. And then if we go down, did the paths come out? Okay, yeah, the paths worked, but no, wait, what? Paths? Oh, yeah, I logged the same thing twice. Okay. Run it again. So that should split that up into a list of paths. Now the great thing about doing it this way is that since we're running commands directly on the container or sandbox, basically
Should be quicker.
Yeah, and we can implement like stuff here. So this whole bit here that I did, it looks totally insane, but it just marks which ones are files and which ones are directories. And if we had to do that, we didn't have that implemented before, and the obviously the bad way to do that would be to do a loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over hundreds of files. So, but if we just implement stuff in the actual command, it's going to run pretty fast. So once we get this list of paths, then we put it into a tree structure. Okay. Is it still loading?
Yeah.
Go ready. Here, okay, so we did get the paths out. Okay. And I think there's an issue here. The first thing I notice is that we're getting this log way after this has been sent. Which can only be because I didn't await it.
That's why it was empty.
Yeah, it was returning promise. Empty promises. I think all of these need to be awaited. So I asked Victor if it would be fine if the backend just returns like a flat list.
Yeah.
Or or we return just the top level, and then the front end can request the nested levels when it needs to. So
What did he say?
I just said that so right now we're returning. I'll show you here. If you look at the API call here, this is what we're returning.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have enough space on my screen, you can actually see what we're returning here. I have no idea what this is. What? Okay, but anyways, the idea is to return a tree of files.
Right.
And so first we get the list, then we turn that into a tree. That's what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a better thing to use, but that's just how it's been so far. So okay, something worked. Okay.
Oh. But we won't be able to open the files, right? Yes, sir.
Oh, how did you know? You're just guessing that it was broken.
Well, that's something easy.
But look here. The problem that's causing this, the project is the same thing that's causing this.
Right.
We don't want this project folder to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, we can fix that super easily. Okay, we have this here. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be there. So let's see. Are we running this? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was talking about this bit as well.
Yeah, it's probably the cleanest way, right?
Yeah.
So
We can
Actually,
edit
what if?
this out to get rid of project too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Actually, let's hope. Let's see. Hopefully, the terminal works. I haven't changed anything in the terminal, so if we do, if we're here, now we are in the right directory now.
Yeah.
So if you do pwd, you see your directory, and if I do find dot, we get. It looks good. Um, so I think we just need to do. What if? But obviously, we're not in that directory when we're running this. I think we are in this directory, which is why it's coming up like this.
Yes.
If I would do find project, I'm actually wondering what's going to happen. Okay, it's going to print it like this. If I go to cd project, and I do find dot, we're still going to have the dot. What if I do find asterisk? Ooh, that's kind of what we're looking for, isn't it?
Yep.
Find asterisk. So I should do like this: cd home user project and find asterisk, and I would change this to probably
Directory.
dir name. Wait, that's how it's supposed to be, right? Or is it supposed to be like this? Wait. This dot dir name.
Mm-hmm.
Python's messing me up. This is this one. Yeah. So, okay. Okay, so this is printing out how we want it. And look, it looks good, right?
Yep, perfect.
So let's open something now. It works. How is it working? Well, we left all the E2B code in, so that should work. Let's save it, close it, open it again. It's definitely saving. Actually, the front end could be caching it. The back end's not. Now we have no caching code on the back end.
Yeah.
And so if I refresh the front end and then open the file again, we're quite sure that it's screwed, man. Okay. Did anything happen here? Let's look here. Okay, so the sandbox crashed. Okay.
It crashed way before though.
Yeah. Okay, let's remove this log here, and let's see why it would crash. Okay, so sandbox is working. Terminal's working. And this is working.
Okay, it didn't
but
save
the file
though.
didn't save. Okay, let's do like this. Let's add this, and then check in here. Okay, it did save here. That's good, right?
Yep.
And if I add a new file, The file is here, but it didn't show up here. Let's refresh. Okay. And now this is empty. Now has it crashed? Nothing has crashed yet. Now it works. Okay, that's interesting. And here it is. It did show up. Huh?
Yeah.
So it's roughly working. Okay, cannot close the terminal.
But
And
it
here we
crashed
got this
again.
crash. Okay. What could cause this?
Wait, do you think it's a computational problem? Like, the sandbox couldn't handle this?
No. Fetch failed. Like, this could happen if it times out, but it's definitely can't be timing out while we're using it. We haven't left it to time it for long enough. So that's still here. This is here. Not much should change, but I am very suspicious of these file watchers, which are monitoring the file system. It's quite buggy. Okay, so what happened before was we changed something, we saved it, then we refreshed. Then we open the file again. It was blank. Why is it blank? Good question. That's a good question. And then we open the terminal. Maybe the terminal crashes something different. Let's close it again, and we open it again, and it's there. Okay. That's interesting. Well, let's refresh again with the WebSocket, while watching the WebSocket. Look here. Open this here, index.html. It's not blank now. And that looks to be working fine. Let's change something, save it, refresh. I wonder if this whole loading thing would be faster if we don't list all of the subdirectory files initially. It's definitely something to test. Okay. Then we go to index.html. It is blank. Here I look at this loaded thing. Looks like it's getting called a few times. Yeah. That's kind of strange. So the get file didn't work. Didn't return anything. I see two weird things. One is that loaded is coming back a few times. I'm not sure if that's... Those could be because of the file watchers. I think they might be doing that. They might be causing that. The extra refresh. The file watchers are the worst. So get file. Yep. Handle get file. Okay. It's really straightforward. And so is this. Okay. That's a mystery. But yeah, I think that's probably good for today. If you look at, I'll share you this branch that I'm working on now that has all of the Cloudflare stuff deleted. And if you just look at file manager.ts, this file is now 200 and that's even shorter now. 240 lines because I deleted the zip code stuff, the zip file stuff. It's 240 lines of code. If you look at the way that it was before, backend, server, source, file manager, then it was, yeah, it was a lot, right?
Almost 600.
Yeah. So now we've really cleaned that up, simplified it. And if you would just read through these 240 lines of code, basically, I think it should be pretty instructional. Okay. So I'll send you that and just look through it and then let me know what doesn't make sense.
Perfect.